When I started my first job as a civil engineer, I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know how to write a professional email. I didn't know who to talk to or how. I didn't even drink coffee at this point in time. I was just lost in what professional working life was. It took me weeks to get a feel for the team, the culture, the way people worked, and just how to interact with them. Now, imagine giving me a critical task in week one. Would it have gone well? Probably not. And that's exactly how AI feels if you tell it to write an email or a report without any context. It's not that it's just bad, it's just like me on week one. It's lost and it's not yet set up for success. To solve that, when I started, we had training, an onboarding process that introduced me to the company culture, the expectations and requirements. I learned how to write emails, what the tone should be, what words I could use, as well as how I should show up in my role every single day. And for AI, we can actually do the same thing by giving it clear instructions on how to work with us in our roles. The way we do that is by setting up something called custom instructions. These are built-in fields in tools like ChatGPT, where you tell the AI who you are, what you do, how you like to receive information, as well as how it should communicate and talk to you. Once you've set these up, they can apply to every conversation that you have with AI. Let me show you what mine looks like.
To access custom instructions, you go down to the bottom left over here and you click on personalization. This will bring up the section and area where you can add custom instructions into ChatGPT. Now, to walk through how I've set up my custom instructions, first I'm going to go through my About You section. When I've set up my custom instructions, what I've really thought about are two main things. One, what would I tell a new team member on day one so they can work with me effectively and understand what I do and how I operate? That's what I provide in my About You section. Then I also think about what would make a really effective team member? What traits would I like them to have so that we have a really strong working relationship? That's what I provide in this first section. So to go over the About You section, the first thing that I've provided is my nickname, which is Bragan. So that's my actual name. Now, if you feel uncomfortable providing your actual name, you can put a different name here or just leave this section empty. Next, I have my occupation. So what do I actually do? And I've given quite a detailed response here. So I've written, I'm a civil engineer and I work in infrastructure design and delivery. I support projects in pavements design from roads, bridges, and airports, and I coordinate between design teams, site crews, and clients. My role involves reviewing technical drawings, managing specifications and contracts, responding to RFIs, and preparing documentation like reports and drawings. So in this way, the AI starts to understand what it is I do on a day-to-day basis. We also have a section which is a More About You section. And what I like to give here is a little bit more context on who I am and where I come from. And the reason why it's valuable is it allows the AI just to tailor some of its outputs to you. So for example, I've written here, I live and work in Australia and I write in British English. This is helpful so that the responses are in the correct format of English, but it also understands that my engineering projects are in an Australian context, not an American context, not in a European context. I've also given information about me in terms of, as an engineer, I'm process orientated. I want information explained in clear step-by-step instructions, and I like to think in frameworks. I find it easy to understand concepts when they're explained to me with clear and realistic examples. So now that I have done that section, I want to scroll up to the personalization section. So here I'm describing the personality and communication style I want my AI intern to adopt. In terms of base style and tone, you can choose from a variety of different ones. And I've chosen professional just because I want this for a work context. We can also choose a variety of characteristics. I left most of them to default, but you can choose the one which you prefer. And I've also added more headers and lists just because I really like to digest information in this way, and less emojis because I personally just don't like AI giving me emojis. I've also added some more custom instructions, such as please use bullet points, numbered steps, tables, or short paragraphs to structure your response, because that's how I personally digest information. And I've also said, be supportive and friendly when providing responses, because sometimes when things don't work, I get a little frustrated. Now, I do want to highlight that you should only share information in this personalization section that meets your company's AI guidelines and that you are okay with uploading. Now, once you've filled this out and just clicked on the save button, this applies across all of your chats. So AI shows up ready to work with the right context every time.
So now that you've seen how custom instructions work, I want you to spend some time setting up your own. We've added a link in the video description that includes some starter templates you can use to help modify and make your own ones that feel like you. And then add them to ChatGPT, or if you're using another AI or LLM that doesn't quite have this option right now, save the instructions. And when you create a new chat on the tool or ask questions to the AI, write this at the start of the conversation so it has the context. Just one last thing I want you to know, ChatGPT also has a feature called memory. So if you say something like, I like when you use tables, it will remember that preference across chats and it'll say save to memory. Just know, not every AI tool has this feature. So once you've set up your custom instructions, our next video is going to go into prompting and how to communicate and talk to AI.